All right, good evening. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Manager McGill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Grella,
Here. Here.
thank you. Commissioner Ranning,
Here.
Commissioner Silverman,
Here.
Commissioner Swager Wilson,
Here.
Commissioner Flynn.
Present. All right, first up on the agenda this evening is the manager's announcements, followed by the community highlights. Again, Manager McGill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier tonight, the commission met in discussion session and we received information and discussed the following items. We received an update on the comprehensive plan. If any of you missed that, I'd encourage you to watch that online. That was very thorough and gave you some sense of where we're headed now, which is the testing phase of the comprehensive plan process. We also heard an update on the ice spot repairs that were approved for funding by the commission in July and how those have been addressed. We discussed a possible snow angel program. Again, more of that will be available on the municipal website in the next couple of weeks. And we heard updates from the commission liaisons on their advisory board activities. Prior to that meeting, we met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next meeting of the commission will be on Tuesday, December 13th in this room, beginning at 8:00 p.m. Here are the ways the public can participate. You can participate obviously in person as you're doing tonight. For those of you in the room, you don't need to pre-register, simply show up at the appropriate meeting time. You can also participate remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register. Simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during the citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Manager McGill. We have let's see, community highlights. I knew that'd come to me at some point. It's just great news.
Thank you, Mr. President. The 2023 manager's recommended budget is now online at the mountlebanon.org. It is also available to view here in the municipal building and at the public library. The third budget workshop is Thursday, December 1st at 6 p.m. and the final budget workshop is Monday, December 5th at 6 p.m. The final budget hearing and the adoption of the budget is scheduled for Tuesday, December 13th at 8 p.m. All meetings are in person at 710 Washington Road or on Zoom, and those links for Zoom are available at mountlebanon.org. The public can comment during the public hearings, but not at the workshops. We encourage all residents to participate. Don't forget, Beverly Road will celebrate Beverly Bright Night on Thursday, December 1st from 7 to 8:30 p.m. with holiday treats, Santa, and the tree lighting. On Washington Road, the Mount Lebanon Partnership will present the Mount Lebanon Winter Market and Holiday Celebration on Saturday, December 10th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Uptown Mount Lebanon. The event features lots of holiday shopping, farm and food stands, an elf hunt, artists with gift items, plus live music in Santa from 1 to 3. If you know an amazing volunteer, please nominate them for Mount Lebanon's Volunteer of the Year Award, presented by the Community Relations Board. Applications are available online at mountlebanon.org. We also still have a few slots open for the Mount Lebanon Residence Academy, which starts January 6th. Details are online at mountlebanon.org. This Saturday is Black Friday and Saturday is Small Business Saturday. Please remember to support our local Mount Lebanon businesses as much as you can. Remember, Washington Road businesses are open during the vibrant uptown construction. And finally, the Mount Lebanon Commission and staff of the municipality wish you and your family a warm and wonderful Thanksgiving.
Here, here. Thank you, Commissioner Silverman.
You're welcome.
All right, next up on the agenda is our Junior Commissioner, Amy Tan.
Good evening. Today, I would like to dive straight into some updates on the outreach of the comprehensive plan, especially on the high school's end. Certain student organizations such as the Environmental Club have become increasingly involved. They've posted the survey link on their Schoology page, and hopefully more organizations join in their footsteps. Recently, I also got the chance to talk with a teacher from the high school social studies department. He was able to send an email blast of the survey link to the rest of the social studies teacher as a potential activity for the shortened class periods on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Additionally, he shared an idea that we previously discussed with a meeting with Mr. McNees and other junior board members, which is the opportunity for someone from the municipality to come in and speak to students about the structure and activities of local government, which would hopefully engage students and let them learn more about what we do. While these are some practical small steps that we've taken to spread awareness of the comprehensive plan, my teacher also brought up some insightful points during our conversation concerning the general marketing and communication aspects of the plan thus far. Even though he considers himself to be active in the community and active online, he did not learn about the survey until he received the email from the school district. And even though he does know about the survey, he was very confused about the timeline of the survey and how long the survey was open for. Additionally, many community members that he has spoken with have not heard about the survey until they talked with him. Even outside of the commonly looked below 25 demographic, it seems that there's room for improvement in communication for all demographics. If there's an effort to move away from mailing paper surveys, there should be an equal effort for online communication to be just as organized and accessible. Effectively reaching community members is the first step to getting them to trust the government and motivate them into participating. As the municipality continues with the next steps of the plan, there are strengths to further build on as well as areas to improve. This includes my report for November 22nd. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the feedback. I'm sure that our municipal planner and consultants will take that very seriously and consider how to move forward with it. But very much appreciate all of your efforts to help push this forward. All right, next up on the agenda this evening is citizens' comments. Citizens' comments is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. The commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have specific questions, we will try to answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address the commission. State your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope that the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. And with that this evening, let me just ask first, do we have anybody online this evening?
Nobody has their hand raised.
All right, thank you. All right, we will start in the room. First on the list is Dr. Hoon.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. Recently, I was walking over to the T from my house, and I noticed in pink a heart drawn in chalk on the sidewalk, and the words "Be kind" written inside of it. And I thought, how nice. I think it was probably a child, a girl, that wrote that, drew that heart. And I hoped that she would leave the township before she would realize exactly what it's like. Nice sentiment, though. I enjoyed seeing that. Okay, I left the meeting Mr. Flynn, I tend to speak in a loud voice. You complained about that last time. I'm not going to apologize for the fact that I'm at least half deaf. There's been a lot of machine gun fire and rotor wash in my life. And I tend to speak in a certain level of voice. I have also in the past done a lot of speaking to 200 or 300 soldiers at a time. You don't do that in open air, speaking like a little mouse. So I'm sorry if this offends you. We didn't realize you were so sensitive, by the way. I left a meeting here not too long ago, walked down the street toward Royers, saw a guy down on his knees on the sidewalk. I'd never seen that before, and I've lived here 50-some years. So I went over to him and I said, "Hey, you all right?" Well, he shook his head and he looked at his hands. His hands were a little scraped up. And he said, "I don't know. What the hell happened?" And then he looked around and he sees some lumber over to the side and he said, "Did I kick that lumber? When the hell are they going to finish this sidewalk?" And I just said, "Hey, this is Mount Lebanon. A lot of things happen here. You have to really watch what you're doing." Okay. I think you also indicated, Mr. Flynn, that you wanted me to address you as Mr. Flynn. Is that correct?
No, that was Commissioner Flynn.
Ah, okay. Well, why don't you refer to me as Colonel Hoon from now on?
I'd be happy to. You write Dr. Hoon.
That's right. I'll change that
Okay.
in the future.
Colonel's fine.
All right. You also indicated that if I hung around here after meetings for who knows how long, you would reveal the current reason that we're killing deer. Well, I'm not about to waste more time hanging around, but being a taxpayer, as all of the people in my group are, the Friends of the Earth, we would like to know what the current reason is for killing deer in Mount Lebanon.
I would refer you to the commission meeting from 1 month ago where the Parks Board gave comments on that.
I was here a month ago.
You left before they spoke.
Ah, okay, so it's my fault once again. That's tragic.
Well, I'll let you finish. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, election night. I'm the judge of elections at Fifth Ward, First District. A woman comes in, she's shaking. And I said, "Are you all right, ma'am?" She said, "I almost got hit on Washington Road." She said, "I was walking across the road and somebody was speeding in her direction, almost hit her." And I said, "Hey, you want a chair? You want to sit down for a little bit? We can get you some water, whatever, until you calm down enough to vote." And she said, "No, I'll be all right, but he tires squealing. I'm not used to all of that." You know, this is right up the road here, folks, right outside that church. I don't know, we got a real problem, don't we? But no, we don't. Things like that never happen. That guy driving 71 miles an hour down the other end of Washington Road never happened. Thank you. Have a good night. By the way, I hope you all enjoy your Thanksgivings. A lot of people in Ukraine are.
Colonel Hoon, thank you for your comments. I would just note, you had said that I didn't want you to speak loudly. I have absolutely no problem with you speaking loudly. That is completely your right. I respect that very much. I just said that if you would engage in the broader dialogue that is had around deer and these topics, there are multiple steps that occur before it comes to commission. The Parks Board is one area where you might be able to engage on the topic of deer because they have reasons that they are saying that they support the deer call. But again, this is a community, and if there are multiple ways of building momentum and support for your position on the topic, which I would encourage you to be more engaged on these issues and engage with these boards to promote those positions.
And Colonel, just to add to that, Colonel Hoon, I'm happy to forward you the statement.
Excuse me for 1 second.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, let me,
Cute for women's voice.
sure, I'll speak up. I'm happy to forward you the statement that the Parks Advisory Board worked on in their support of deer culling, as well as invite you to the next park board meetings if you want to come and discuss that a little bit further about the ecological benefits of deer culling. Do we have your email? Yeah. I know we collect phone numbers. I don't know if we have that email on that form yet.
If you want to give an email.
Yeah, could we get your email?
One of my problems is, I want you to
Tell me what it is.
Yeah, we'll write it
Tell me what
down.
it is. Tell me.
Also, I would make a note for Ian to send over the report that we did at the end of the first 5-year term. We had commissioned a consultant to do a report and to look at some of the data. Ian has that information as well. That was a report that was done at the end of the first 5-year term.
Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner Grella.
We'll email you, a couple things, and then you can come and if you want to come to the Parks Board meeting and we can have more of a dialogue.
when is that?
It's once a month, the first Tuesday of every month.
At what time?
6:30 PM here in this building. It's in the meeting room down the hall, or you can do online if that's easier, but 6:30 PM, first Tuesday of every month. They'll even meet in December.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Hoon. All right, next up on the list this evening, and I apologize if I mess up a name, Jackie Thorbarden. I really do apologize. I'm sure I butchered that.
It's Jackie Thobob, and I live at 300 Arden Road. And I don't know, is this the appropriate time to make comments about the Arden Road comment?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So I speak, I'm at 300 Arden, which if you're coming, if you take Beverly up and make a right on Overlook, and then you make a right on Arden, I'm the third house, my husband and I, third house down on the left. And this calming really needs to happen. I was on the last meeting, but I was on the video and I couldn't hear everything that was going on and everything that was said, but we cannot even safely back out of our driveway because of how the people come across the connection between Arden and crossover Overlook and then come on to our part of Arden. I mean, last week I was backing out and somebody was coming so fast. I stopped because I look when I'm backing out, but they were laying on their horn, blowing it, and they just kept on going. If I hadn't stopped, I would have been hit. This is a residential area, so this calming money needs to be spent to get this done so that people aren't killed and, hit and killed on this street. So I support the island, whether it be cement barrier or the barrier with the candlesticks. I support both of those, but what is most important is that if you do a cement island there, I'm calling it island for lack of a better word, you have to make sure that the fire trucks and the police, et cetera, can get through the emergency vehicles. So whatever is the best solution should be used. And the fire people and the police know whether they can fit through there. The island farther down on Arden approaching Cochrane is a wonderful solution. There's adequate space there as the plan that I've viewed is designed. It looks like it's going to be great there. Unfortunately, I think at one of the meetings, they voted down to put the at the end of Arden on when you're coming to Cochrane. A right turn there would eliminate traffic, more traffic on Arden the whole way, because if people can't turn right there, then they're not going to come up Arden. So slowing it is some part of the solution, but getting a no right turn there would move the traffic over to Beverly where it belongs and not in the residential area. So hopefully, there's enough money in the budget to do all of these and consider that right, no right turn at the end of Arden. And you can just do it from 4 to 6 when the traffic is heavy. That would be I'm not saying do it all day long, just 4 to 6 when all of the traffic is coming home from work. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, next up is Tom Pasternak.
Yeah.
All right, I got one right.
I'm Tom Pasternak. I live at 287 Arden, about 3 doors around from Jackie. I'm just really thrilled that I've been here 41 years now. And this is about our 8th go around of trying to get some traffic calming on Arden Road. The reason people, in fact, we all think it's people going too fast, but it really isn't. It's volume of traffic that got noticed. A number of your studies noticed that the volume is the thing we have to cut down. The volume is there because Arden Road doesn't have a traffic light at the end of it. Beverly and Parker have them, so everybody cuts through. It's the gateway to Scrubgrass on into Scott Township. There's a hill of people who live there who are Scott Township residents. Anyway, if you want to cut down the number of the volume of traffic, that traffic has to go somewhere else. Every time we've talked about, hey, let's have a bunch of no left turn signs. That was my idea. Cheap, easy. In fact, I heard one of your commissioners say it at the thinking meeting. 4 to 6, like Jackie just said, when the kids are out there on the street. We have 55 kids at our black party this year. Somebody's going to get hurt when somebody, and it's just a number of cars. Literally, sometimes they're lined up at our block, on our residential block at drive time. So if you could, I'm not sure the entire thing, but everybody always says, well, what happens if they go to another block? Well, if they're going to go somewhere, if we're trying to break down the volume, these things are intended to, my question is, are all these enhancements that we have, things in the middle of the road and traffic islands and stuff, they're slowing people down. What is your estimation of the actual volume that will decrease it by? I'm not sure it's that big. Okay, slow people down is not volume. They'll still come through if there's no light at the end. So I'm a big favor of the no right turn signs at the bottom of Parker, Arden, and everything, just for 2 hours, like many, just to have the people go up Beverly. That's what the merchants would love it. That's the only place they can go that isn't on one of our residential streets. Let's involve the other residential streets around us to get some kind of traffic pattern that makes them, slows them down, puts them up Beverly. Okay, and I'm really thankful to like Commissioner Randy, who's been very active in our neighborhood and getting this thing going and inviting us up here to speak. I didn't know I was speaking. She just said, put your name on the thing. So well, that's great, because otherwise we wouldn't have done it. It's really great to have you active. So I'm thrilled that you guys are actually working on this. It's something's going to happen, but we got to get the volume down somehow. I'm a big fan of not letting people go through Arden and Overlook. There's proposals to make people go around, but what if you made them turn right or left and they couldn't go through? That would stop a lot of them with some little plastic things. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Fire trucks can go over it. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pasternak. All right, next up is Seth Davis.
Good evening, everyone. Seth Davis, 26 North Meadowcroft, and I'm here to solicit your support for what a lot of people are already talking about, but under the umbrella of a complete streets policy, which is on the agenda for tonight. And a lot of times this has been construed as my plan or our plan, or it's been a team effort. It's an effort that's gone from the Economic Development Council, gone through other community groups, and it really supports something we've already committed to, 2013 comprehensive plan, other entities within what people are asking for in that comprehensive plan map. It is not a new policy, it's not a new consideration, but it's something we've already committed to, and it's finally putting that into action. And it's also reflective of best practices nationally, in the world, in the region. It is something that reflects our community's context and values, that language is in there. And it's just a first step. This is a commitment. It's a first step to where Arden, I heard it talked about, let's look at the other streets. We don't do that in our current traffic calming policy. It's a very reactive policy. It's a very underfunded policy, personal opinion, strong personal opinion. But now you have to look at a network approach, and that's what this complete streets policy potentially does. It brings a network approach, it brings a framework, but it's a first step that will have to trickle down through different groups and within the framework of the municipality, within the teams, within the departments, all of those things. But it's just that first step. So we'll come back once this is passed and we get all your votes this evening, and we'll come back and collaborate around an implementation plan, an active transportation plan, if you will, a network plan. You can call it whatever you want, but that's the next step where we actually look and prioritize and begin to look at projects. Where are we moving people? They talked about volume. How are we moving people? What mode are people choosing in that sense? Because volume is a critical element, but speed, and I know he didn't say speed, but speed kills. Over 20 miles per hour, it moves up exponentially if you're hit by a vehicle, especially if that vehicle is electric, which is very heavy. The Hummer EV weighs over 9,000 pounds. That is a lot for a walkable community where kids walking to school, my 5-year-old's about this tall, then they won't see him in that electric Hummer. So that's a critical piece. And I would just urge that consideration as this a first step, and I solicit your report, but it will be critical for that prioritization, critical for the budget decision making, critical for all these elements to have it in place. And then we can reflect and take that forward towards implementation. So once again, there's been a lot of people that have contributed to it. I think the support from Commissioner Flynn, who's been involved in the Economic Development Council, Eric Milliron, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about him because he's been supportive of this effort, but we've shopped this around the community. Shopped is a kind word, but I'm willing to talk to anyone and everyone about it. If anyone happened to watch WPXI tonight, there might be a familiar face on there speaking about it. So that's, I'm here to solicit your support. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, and thank you for all of your work on this. It has been a Herculean task, and you have definitely been up to it. All right, next up this evening is Philip Ramey. Wow, I got two. You're right. Yeah, yours is easy.
Good evening. I'm Philip Ramey. We live at 201 Overlook Drive, which is right on the corner of Overlook and Arden. And we sit there out on our porch when the weather's permitting and watch the traffic come through that intersection. And there are stop signs on all four corners. And I count on one hand in an hour how many people come to a stop. Some of them slow down quite a bit. Some of them slow down a little bit. Some of them hardly slow down. It's dangerous. And so I'd really like to advocate for the median island, whatever the proper terminology is, at that intersection that's going to slow down that traffic, make people stop and think about going through there, and watch what they're doing when they do go through there. Because somebody who's going through there and slowing down from 30 to 15 or 20, all they have to do is, the blink of an eye, something happens and there's a real tragedy could happen. So I'd really like to urge you to fund this project in the budget. I think the traffic planners and engineers have done a great job in coming up with some solutions. So I'd really like to urge you to put the money in the upcoming budget to have those take place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramey. Next up is Christine Keeley.
Hi, Christy Keeling. I'm at 214 Arden Road, so I'm right off of Beverly Road. I apologize for anybody who's heard me talk before, but I am here tonight just to echo my support for all of the calming measures on Arden Road that have been proposed by Gateway. So I just want to thank the traffic board, yourselves, our entire street. We've organized this effort. As Tom said, it's been years that it's happened multiple times, but this go round has been, I think, since 2019. Our entire street has come together to try to request these calming measures, and we are in full support of all of them. So I'm at the lower end of Arden. I'm right off of Beverly Road. Apologies for those who have heard me say it before, but I have witnessed a 6-year-old almost get hit before trying to cross the road coming home from school, because that intersection is about 1 million feet wide and there's no crosswalk, and a car was accelerating off of Beverly as she was running across, and they can't see. And that's always been my fear because I live right on that corner. I have maybe made the mistake of actually starting to imagine what it might be like if I could let my kids actually leave my front porch, which I don't do now. Imagining that really fantastically wretched corner that you have planned to put in there. So I really hope that that comes to pass, that people actually have to turn onto Arden Road instead of accelerating onto Arden Road, which is what they do now because it's a runway. But I also do fully support the measures being put in place up at Overlook because, I mean, barely stopping, there's a real sightline issue also. I think it's like, I know myself, I have to edge forward because I can't see where people are coming from. So yeah, I think somebody had said that we really want people to turn on to Arden Road and really regret that they turned on Arden Road. Like they're really in for it now. They're about to run the gauntlet. So just in support of all the measures. Thanks for your time and hopefully get support next month. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, next up is Aaron Timmerman.
Good evening, everyone. Erin Timmerman, 139 Overlook Drive. I'm also at the corner of Arden across from Phil and Val, who are here tonight. So first of all, thank you again for all of your time and support. I know you've probably heard me speak before on this, but I'm really proud of our neighborhood for coming together on this and persevering for 3+ years, or more than that, really, on trying to get some solutions. So I would urge you all to support for the 2023 budget, the entire improvements along the length of Arden. I think they all make a difference. I believe that the estimate was that it would reduce traffic by about 20% in answer to Tom's question. And I think that'll make a real difference in safety. And also I really urge the island, again, at the corner of Overlook and Arden. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have any comments online?
Yes, we have one.
All right, please go ahead.
Dawn, good evening. Please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record. You will have 5 minutes for your comments. You will hear a tone when your time is concluded.
Hello, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Don Fouts. My wife and I live at 210 Arden, which is on the corner of Arden and Beverly. I just wanted to join this evening to voice our support for the full funding of all the traffic calming projects in our area. With our driveway being located right at the corner of Beverly and Arden, I can say that it can be a pretty exciting affair, pulling out and getting groceries on a weekly basis. So the changes to that intersection, I think, will be a lot of help. And then I also wanted to voice my support for the Overlook design changes as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have to say, Commissioner Rainey, thank you for all of your work on this. It has been fantastic. And honestly, to all of you residents, it's really great to see you all come together and do this, right? That's what community is all about. And so I applaud you all for your perseverance through something that can obviously seem like a big challenge. So good, congratulations to all of you. And I'm sure that this is something that the commissioners will be actively thinking about as we go through the budget process. So thank you for all of your engagement on this.
And I just want to point out, I double checked my notes to make sure, but I believe Dawn and Courtney Fouts, they're the residents that will be the most impacted by that turn on Arden off of Beverly, because their driveway would be reworked. So it sounds like they are in full support of that modification.
I have to say, I've never heard the term fantastically wretched used in a positive.
All right, I believe that concludes citizens' comments, unless Nick, you have anybody else?
No, that was the last one.
I have my thing separate from streets.
Please.
Once again, Seth Davis, 26 North Meadowcroft. Mount Lebanon's volleyball team, boys, is advertising for a head coaching position, junior varsity position. They are trying to reinstate the program. This is a separate thing. I used to play against Mount Lebanon in high school. It was the best tournament and end of year tournament. Fantastic. It's a fantastic sport. Anyone interested that may be listening online or have any interest, they're trying to start it up. They're advertising the coaches first before trying to get a schedule together. And I can't coach right now, but I'm supportive of it. So I just wanted to plug that bit.
Is it youth?
High school level. They want to get high school level team started, so.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, well, that concludes citizens' comments this evening. Thank you all again. Next up on the agenda is item number 4, Commissioner Silverman, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the minutes for the regular meeting held November 8th, 2022. I move to approve the minutes.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, Commissioner Randy, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of ordinance bill number 9-22, establishing compensation for employees in 2023. This ordinance establishes the pay rates and levels for employees, including those covered by collective bargaining for 2023. It also sets hours of work and overtime, longevity, and fringe benefits. I introduce ordinance bill number 9-22.
Thank you, Commissioner Randy. Item number 6 on the agenda, Commissioner Swager Wilson.
This is consideration of ordinance bill number 622, amending the 2022 budget for revenue and expenditures not anticipated in the 2022 budget. Those proposals are to your right on the screen, if you'd like to look at them. This ordinance was introduced on October 25th, 2022, and the public hearing was held November 8th, 2022. I move to enact ordinance bill number 622.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 7 on the agenda, Commissioner Grella.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of resolution number R-23-22, implementing a required real estate property tax waiver. Act 57 of 2022 amended the local tax collection law to require taxing districts that impose real property taxes to adopt a resolution or ordinance within 90 days of the effective date of the act, or not later than January 1st, 2023, directing the tax collector to waive additional charges for real estate taxes in certain situations. The primary situation is if a new property owner does not receive a tax bill in the first year after purchasing the property. The tax at face is not waived, just the penalties. I move to approve resolution number R-23-22.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 8, Commissioner Randy, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the adoption of a complete streets policy. The municipality has continued giving attention to the subject of complete streets, which concept was part of the 2013 comprehensive plan. The overall concept focuses primarily on providing a safe travel environment for all users of streets and street right-of-way. Both the comprehensive plan and this policy emphasize the goals of complete streets, as opposed to providing detailed and mandatory design practices. The policy is therefore intended to function instead as a thoughtful set of important considerations to help shape future study and decisions. I move to adopt the complete streets policy.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there questions or comments?
I want to thank everyone that's been involved in this multi-year project. It's really impressive and I'm so glad to see it coming together. I know that in and of itself, it doesn't actually do anything, but it's a very, very important key first step. So thank you for taking us this far.
Thank you, Commissioner Randy. Commissioner Grella, did I hear you? Yeah, it looks like you're frozen. He continues to freeze. Okay. Any other? All right, I will just say again, Mr. Davis, thank you very, very much. Your efforts have been fantastic. I knew that when we first met, you were engaged on this process. This is a topic that was close to your heart, and I knew I had found the right person to engage and help shuttle this thing forward. Your efforts truly have been fantastic. Taking this around the community. It is important. Yes, it is a step, but again, just hearing the ardent discussion and recognizing that these are concerns that everybody has, and as a walkable community, we have to be thinking about the next 40 years of investment in this infrastructure. A walkable community is always having to improve. Hopefully, this is a step that is going to allow our engineers, our traffic planners, our planning department to be more proactive and aggressive in terms of protecting the various users of our public rights of way, not just our streets, or not just our cars. So I'm really appreciative of everybody's efforts and everybody's support to get it where it is. And I look forward to the next steps in the process, hopefully. Commissioner Grella, you're back. Did
Thank
have
you.
a-
Yeah, Zoom keeps cutting out, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I heard the bulk of your response. I only heard a little bit of Mindy's response. So I just want to echo what everyone has said so far. And also what I believe it was Mr. Davis said in his comments, that we need to come back with an implementation plan. Policies like this are often just statements of opinion or values. And while I do support this one and think it's very important, we do need that implementation plan. And this one in particular has far-reaching consequences, from zoning to whether we allow parking or the density of for which we allow parking, or the requirements there. And we need to dig into a lot of that, especially when we talk about what we're going to require developers to do, because as we all know, developers don't do anything unless they're required to do it. So there's a lot of that we'll need to dig into, and it is not just related to transportation or how we move people around the municipality. It's literally going to be conversations about development, density. There's really nothing that this policy doesn't touch, in my opinion. So I think we need to have a follow-up. Hopefully that follow-up doesn't take as long to put together as maybe this policy has, but I do appreciate all the work of the residents. I think it's a great policy. And I think if we can affect some ordinance changes and some changes to our plan, that would really be something. And I'd love to see that.
Thank you, Commissioner Grella. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we will move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 9 on the agenda this evening, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Mr. President. In consideration of appointment to the Hospital Authority. Dr. James Roush's term on the Hospital Authority expires December 31st, 2022, and the commission thanks him for his service. I move to appoint Susan Yov of Moreland Drive to a term effective January 1, 2023, and ending December 31st, 2027.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 10, Commissioner Swager Wilson.
Consideration of the expenditure list for October totaling $4,612,222.69. I move to approve the expenditure list for October totaling $4,612,222.69.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Gotta get those pennies in here.
Yeah.
I think you just gave it to me because it was a long number.
fun.
Two numbers.
Just be glad it's not a larger municipality. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 11, Commissioner Grella. And Commissioner Grella has frozen, so
Aye.
There.
I'm going to ask Commissioner Rainey to.
My back.
All right, Commissioner Grella, I'm going to ask Commissioner Rainey to take it.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I ask that the reports be received and filed?
Make it so.
All right.
We are adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This one just emails me.